Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, and welcome back to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. here, grateful and thankful for this time, for this opportunity that God has afforded us to gather together for another Good Morning Grief Devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural, normal, necessary response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief, it's what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you reveal it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up. No, we let it out. That's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. And I'm so glad that you're here with us on today as we did prepare to lead you in a very special way in today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. Today, my brothers and sisters, is day 196. I'm so glad you're in the mix. We're going to talk about grieving and transitional seasons. Grieving and transitional seasons. The definition of grief that I tell you every single day, that grief is the natural, normal, and necessary response to what? Loss, change, transitions. Transitions is the one that oftentimes gets left out, because we understand loss, right? That we got lost. A lot of y'all on here, you've lost loved ones, you've lost, you've gone through loss, and so we grieve. But I want you to understand that grief is also about loss, is about change, but it's also about transitions. And hopefully this will make you a little bit more aware of what that looks like. The Bible says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. Yeah, this was written at a time of what? Transition. That Moses had died, Joshua was taken over. It's a transition of leadership. Somebody who had been with them for 40 years in the wilderness, and now he's gone and Joshua's taken over. This is a time of transition for the people of God, right? And a lot of times navigating through transition, there is grief. Navigating through transitions, there's mourning that takes place, right? So let's talk about it a little bit. I want you to see something real quick. Here it is. Check it out. Not all grief is tied to death. Sometimes grief comes quietly, wrapped in a move, a job change, an emptiness, a divorce, a retirement, or the slow fade of a season that once felt secure. Ooh, y'all hear that? Now, some of these things can happen in the midst of death, because when death happens, so a lot of times you're not just grieving the death of the individual, but it's the transition you got to go through. It's the move that y'all been in this house forever, built this house, maybe even had it custom built, it down because of financial reasons and other things taking place. I got to transition out of the house. So it's not just the loss of the individual, but it's also the transition that I'm now going through and moving out of the house. Transitions come right through a move, right? A job change. A job change is a transition. I've been over here. I had family. We had all of this stuff over here. It was a community. It was a routine. Now that the job is changing, this is a transition that's taking place that we don't often talk about, even if it's a good transition. If you got a promotion, if you go into another company, if whatever the case may be, it's still a transition. And it's still lost, because I'm losing the community that I had, the comfort that I had. I'm losing the people that I was around. I'm losing this routine, and I'm transitioning to another one, right? So it can come through a move. It can come through a job change. Empty nest. That we had this routine for 18, 19 years, 20 years, feeding and diapers and toddlers and elementary and junior high and high school graduation. And now they're entering into a new season. I'm entering into a new season. And the noise that I once complained about being around the house, I wish it was here. I wish I could hear them fussing. I wish I could hear something. I wish turn that TV down. It's too loud. I wish I could say that, right? Because the reality of a new situation it's the transition of being an empty nester, right? A divorce, a retirement. These are transitions. I said I do. This is supposed to be a couple of forevers. Now it's for never, right? That's a transition. Retirement. You've been working for 40 years in retirement. People say, oh, it's a good thing. I get to. You're losing community. You're losing routine. You're losing something that you've done for so many different years. And it's a transition, right? That oftentimes we don't talk about. All of these things, or the slow fade of a season that once felt secure. It could be a season that once felt secure that is now slowly fading. You're transitioning out of that season. And the question becomes, what do I do? How do I handle this? In transition, y'all, we're told to look forward, to be excited, to embrace the new. But what do you do with the ache of what you're leaving behind? People would just tell you, hey, be excited. Hey, you're getting married. Yeah, be excited. What could you possibly be sad about? You're retiring. You don't have to come to work. What you got to be excited about? People tell us to look forward, but what do you do with the ache of what you're leaving behind? And this, y'all, this is the grief work that I'll be talking about, right? It's in these moments, in these situations, in these instances that we oftentimes don't think about, right? That we got to deal with, that you got to give yourself permission to feel, to process. Let me process what's going on. There have been people getting out of jail. Y'all remember Shawshank Redemption, old school movie? And Brooks was getting out of jail. Brooks had been in jail all his life. He's like, I don't know how to function on the outside. Uh, I don't know. And he tried to work at a grocery store, tried to do all this stuff. Man, that transition was so rough. Brooks ended up taking his life. Y'all remember Biscuit off the movie Life? Biscuit was getting out of prison. Everybody go to prison, won't get out of prison. Biscuit was like, man, I can't. How was this transition about to look? And the transition looked so not promising that he himself essentially wanted to take his life, because we all need to be able to process our transitions. We all need the grace. We all need the space to process our transitions. We all need a safe place to process. And then this is the thing. I'm talking about the parts that people don't understand. Because people will think, but what's wrong with you? People don't understand that it's supposed to be the happiest time, quote unquote, but you feeling something, and people will be like, what's wrong with you, man? I don't get it. I don't get it. You getting out of jail. I don't get it. You getting me. I don't get it. You going into a new house is bigger than the one you got. I don't get it. You got a job. You got a raise. You making more money than me. I don't get it. Yeah, of course you don't get it, because you don't understand that grief is the natural, normal, and necessary response to loss, change, and or transition. And no matter what you see looking forward, I'm looking at see what's behind me as well. And I just need a safe place to process how I'm feeling and what I'm feeling, right? So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do when the ache of what you are leaving behind is there? You may feel unsteady, grieving routines, people, places of purpose. Even good transitions can bring unexpected sorrow. Because when life shifts, we often realize just how rooted we were in the familiar. This is the grief of what was, even while stepping into what will be. That God understands this kind of grief, the grief of what was while stepping into what will be. It's the grief of what was while we step into what will be. And this is the grief that we got to process and navigate through. Understand that God understands this kind of grief. He walked with Israel through every wilderness. He strengthened Elijah in burnout and transition. He was present when seasons change, and he still is. This is what you got to know and understand. God is present when seasons change. God is present even when seasons change. God is present when seasons change. Number one, we go upward when it comes to him, to know that God is present. God ain't left me. God is with me. I can cry out to God. God is going to help me navigate through this. So we go up to God. And also, I'm telling you, we find safe places to process what we're feeling. Safe places where people Well, let us just be free. Even when it don't make sense to us, right? We find safe places to process. You're not weak for feeling the loss in the shift. You're human, and God is faithful in between. Here's your point of application, y'all. Name the transition you're currently in or recently face. What's that transition? What's the transition that you're currently in, or what's the transition that you've recently faced? Name that transition. There may be some things in the past that you transitioned through that you didn't even consider, you didn't even think about, right? Name that transition, y'all. Write down one thing you're grieving in that shift, right? One thing you're hoping for, right? Are you grieving a routine? Are you grieving people? Are you grieving place? Are you grieving purpose? What is it that you're grieving in that particular situation? Then pray, God, meet me in this middle place. Help me honor the grief of what I'm losing. Brothers and sisters, is day 196. Today is day 196. I'm so glad you're in the mix. We are grieving in transitional seasons. Woo! I hope and pray this lesson was a blessing. I hope it was a real eye opener because, once again, yes, we deal with grief, we deal with the loss. So this is the compounded part of the grief, that you lost a loved one, but then there's these transitions that you've gone through as well that just compound the grief and add on something that we got to wrestle with and deal with and go through as well. Hey, Natasha Davis, grieving what was. Yep. And stepping into the uncertain of what will be is a major transition. Grieving what was and stepping into what will be, the uncertainty of what will be is a major, because I don't know. I had certainty. What did it say? I love it. Um, it says the slow fade of a season, the slow fade of a season that once felt secure, right? So it's the slow fade of a season. This season was so secure. I felt so secure. I felt covered. I felt protected. But now that season is slowly fading away. So now I'm entering into a season of uncertainty and ambiguity. This is a major transition. And this is what we need to process. Understand this, because oftentimes we suffer in silence. Oftentimes we can't even articulate it or didn't even know this is what it is or this is what it was. So now that you know, what you do is you got to have safe places to process. Let me process this. I need to process this transition. I need to process. I need to talk about my worries, my fears, my doubts, my anxiety, my anxiousness, the unknown. I need to talk about it. I got to process it. And this is what's so important as you navigate through all of these seasons. Hey, Miss Mary, I am stepping into what will be. God is with me and is faithful. Absolutely. Can you show the point of application again? We missed the last part from the sound. Absolutely. Here it is. Let me get the words off the screen. Here's your point of application. Name the transition you're currently in or recently faced. Write down one thing you're grieving in that shift, one thing you're hoping for. Then pray, God, meet me in the middle place. Help me honor the grief of what was. Help me honor the grief of what I'm losing and hold on to hope for what's ahead. Walk with me, Lord, through this change, even in life's transitions. Grief has room. God is near. There we go. You got it. So just spreading awareness, right? And education as it relates to grief and everything that it encompasses. And so understand that part of our transitions, that's grief, right? So now you got some tools, tips, techniques, takeaways, some awareness as you navigate any transition you go through in life. So it's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan. I hope and pray y'all been blessed on today. Look, I look forward to our continued sessions and time together of empowerment, enlightenment, education, awareness. And I'm going to see you tomorrow, same time, same place, for another Good Morning Grief Devotion. Good morning.